There's no secret that the Bay Area is struggling with an unprecedented housing crisis, so you would think that there would be a huge effort to encourage construction. But at least in Silicon Valley, the data shows that the opposite is in fact happening. In fact, for the past 5 years, construction in and around San Jose has declined more than anywhere else in the country. That's according to a report by Home Abroad. Silicon Valley approved about 1,300 fewer home building permits this year than it did in 2020. So what's going on? One local developer says that the valley's steep decline in housing developments is no accident. John Ramos heard his explanation.
Elected officials often talk about the need to build more housing in a big way, but that's not really happening here in San Jose. And one local developer says their actions are speaking a lot louder than their words. If there is one number that best defines an area's home construction rate, it is the number of home building permits being issued. And in Silicon Valley, it's been dropping like a rock. A group called Home Abroad just released a report saying the average number of permits declined by 32% in large cities. But leading this dubious list is the San Jose, Sunnyvale, Santa Clara area, where the permits dropped by a whopping 68% from 5 years ago.
I wish I could say it surprised me, but it does not at all.
Alex Shore leads a local housing advocacy group. He says it all boils down to how expensive it is to build in the area, from land costs to interest rates to manpower shortages. But those are universal problems. So why was Miami able to increase construction by 160% in the same time period? Shore thinks it has to do with local government. I know they say they want more housing.
Yeah.
Are they really acting like they want more housing?
No, not with the urgency they need. No, because they're not getting the results. When you focus on outcomes first and then you think about process later, it's a whole different way of running a government than if you focus on process and see if you might reach the outcomes.
Cities like San Jose impose various impact and affordable housing fees on builders that can run anywhere from $50,000 to $120,000 per unit. And one local developer is very familiar with them. Eric Hayden's company, Urban Catalyst, just broke ground on a new 278-unit complex on San Carlos Street. But he says that's become a pretty rare occurrence of late.
If the fees are higher, which they are, significantly higher here than other places, and construction costs are higher, that just means that there's less deals available. And so all of those things make it so that between June of 2022 and about 4 months ago, we saw 0 multifamily starts in Silicon Valley. Not a single market rate apartment building started construction.
And Hayden doesn't think it's an accident.
Cities don't want housing. In fact, cities hate housing. Housing does not generate revenue that goes towards their general fund the same way that retail, office, industrial does.
He says unless a project contains at least 65 units per acre, it becomes an economic liability to city budgets. And with the inevitable neighborhood outcry over high-density housing, Hayden says there is no real incentive for elected officials to embrace, much less encourage, new construction.
They think of it like, what's going to get me reelected? Not approving housing. That's one thing, right? So I can not approve housing. What else can I do? I can make it so that we have higher fees so less housing happens. And then I can say that we're going to generate more revenue for below market rate housing. And look, we're building more below market rate housing than ever. Yay, reelect me.
It's important to remember that except in rare occurrences, government does not build housing. That's done by developers and only when it makes economic sense. There are plenty of market factors that may be an impediment to that, but it looks like Silicon Valley leads the nation in a lack of interest in building homes.
No one with the city of San Jose was available to speak with us today.